If you're a facilities manager at a warehouse and your HVAC system goes down, it can turn up the heat, literally. But don't sweat it, Grainger has you covered. Grainger offers over 1 million industrial-grade products for all your operations, including warehouse HVAC maintenance. And even better, they offer access to experts and fast delivery, so you and your warehouse can both keep your cool. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
How did you know I was going to ask you about Wes Johnson?
Because
he's been working with you long enough.
62 years of Twins baseball, I've never seen anything like this. It's
Twins pitching coach is leaving the major leagues to go to LSU, not to be the coach, to be the pitching coach.
To be the pitching coach.
Why?
And what is amazing is he's leaving at mid-season.
He's leaving first-class travel and perks and food. And
well, there's a reason, Joe.
Okay.
Let me give you a little scenario that now
you'd know.
exists in college baseball.
All right.
You got your Big Ten up here, right?
Yep.
You got John Anderson, who's been there, 40-some years. Yeah. And I believe he's making 140, something like that, 140. And he's hanging on to his job. And then they go play someplace, and he's got a little ballpark over here that holds about 800, and they get 400, and they only play about 10 home games, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you get the rest of the Big Ten. They got some nicer stadiums. They get a little bigger crowds. But the rest of the Big Ten, pretty much the same.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got the West Coast used to be kings in baseball. But now you got the Southeastern Conference.
All right.
14 teams, about to become 16 with the addition of Texas and Oklahoma. And they have decided that baseball is important. They all have big stadiums. One of the first schools to build a big stadium was LSU. And LSU changed, their baseball coach left for someplace. So they hired this guy, Jay Johnson, who has a big reputation. And then Jay, apparently, we're guessing that Wes's agent, who, Wes was at Arkansas before the Twins hired him. He was at Dallas Baptist when they first became a baseball strong team as a pitching coach. We're guessing that Wes's agent contacts Jay Johnson and LSU and says, Wes could probably be had at the right number. $750.
You're kidding.
Is the legend.
Are you
he's making
kidding me?
$750 to be the pitching coach at LSU, and he's making about $350, maybe a little less, as the Twins pitching coach.
I would not have guessed that much.
So he's going to LSU to coach 60 games. And now I don't think that's a big thing, but he's doing it for twice as much money.
Wow.
And that's the way LSU is kind of upset because the last two national champions have been right next door, Ole Miss and Mississippi State.
What the hell is the coach getting? If he's getting $750,
about a mil, but he wanted Wes, and so.
Wow.
But here's the other thing: if you're the pitching coach with the Twins, you go to a meeting, right? And you got Wes basically set up their whole system for pitcher development, all this modern stuff, the force plate on the mound and spring training that tells you if you're finishing strong enough, and all the other modern stuff.
All right.
That's all from Wes. Now, it hasn't produced great results yet as far as developing pitchers, but it was all on Wes. But they really wanted to keep him, and there was no pressure on him to leave. And somebody was telling me today that Rocco's good there for life if he wants to be. But I don't think it's anything more than the money.
Really?
I don't think it's anything more than the money.
College baseball's going to pay a pitching coach
Only
$750.
very few places. The Southeastern. We talk about the Southeastern Conference is the football power.
Right.
It's nothing compared to what it is in how it dominates baseball.
Really?
Yeah. It's. they had Mississippi and Ole Miss and Oklahoma just played for the national championship, and they're both going to be in the same league next year. And they're not all of them pay, but the Southeast Conference is so good in baseball that even Vanderbilt's good, and they stink. And
this is great news for baseball.
It is for college baseball, except everybody else is the poor stepchild. It's John Anderson 20 years ago said there should be 2 baseball tournaments, the Northern and the Southern.
And he's right.
And he might be right.
Yeah.
What does he look like? He's got a poor man's program now compared to this.
Oh God, yes. I mean, you go play LSU now, and
Well, that's why them just making a College World Series to begin with is an achievement, right?
Oh, yeah. Somebody from the Big Ten.
Right.
Northwestern made it this year.
Did
right?
they? I don't know.
They have a nice facility.
Oh, no, they made it to the Super Regional Final and got beat. So.
Okay.
Northwestern, yeah. They do, but you're talking about 10,000 people stadiums down there in the Southeastern Conference.
And they sell them out.
Well, they get big crowds when, like certain
What's
teams come
Seabird
to
Field
town.
hold?
What do you think? 800?
If that, yeah.
Yeah, it's seating,
Really?
but then you can stand.
Yeah.
People can sit around. But yeah,
And remind me, they still
it's
don't
boutique.
have they still don't have lights, correct? At Seabird?
Oh, they have lights.
They do now.
Yeah,
okay.
second year they had lights.
Okay, I couldn't remember if they did or not. It's been a while. But Joe, it's also because, and I don't know if Pat will agree with this, but you're talking about a different rate of boosters you've got at LSU as opposed to the Gophers. You know, football alone is going to bring in how much money?
Well, and they're also, for a period, the Skip Bertram was their famous coach, Skip Bertram. He was also the AD for a while.
Oh, was he really?
So he set up a situation where the baseball was very well funded down there. And I'm sure he's got all these boosters, the long-term guys, that somebody will be the Bill Swenson pitching coach scholarship, or they'll have they have all these name sponsors for their various positions and stuff.
Well,
like
it helps
that.
them too. They have no Major League Baseball in
No,
Mississippi,
not in
Alabama,
Louisiana.
Arkansas, Louisiana. Yeah.
But that said, when Wes gets hired here, it's like a historic thing to get hired from a college program. But when push comes to shove, most of us will make our decisions based on money, won't we?
True.
And that's what Wes did.
Judd had the best line about this whole situation, though, saying that Wes Johnson staying for the Cleveland series is the equivalent of a guy coaching the bowl game. You know, when you know he's going to leave right.
Why is he staying for the Cleveland series?
They told him he could, I guess, but he didn't tell them. I'm hearing that he told them Saturday that he was leaving, and they managed to keep it Sunday. But here's what was going on Sunday: some guy it's a fan site or something down there in LSU broke the story yesterday at 5 o'clock, maybe
Something like that. Yeah.
5 o'clock. He sends out that they're going to hire Wes Johnson, and everybody's going nuts. Well, the Twins are on their flight to Cleveland,
Right.
and all of a sudden they start getting texts. Wes Johnson's going to LSU. Wes Johnson's going to LSU. And I know 2 guys who were sitting in a back row, and they're getting this text, and Wes is 4 rows in front of them playing cards.
Yeah.
Wes, because they haven't made it, and the Twins haven't made an announcement or anything. I texted Falvey when it first hit, and this was, and he said that I said, my theory is he wanted a 3-year extension from the Twins, and he decided that this would better security. And he said he already had 3 years here.
Really?
So he was good as far as his position here, but it's all money. So
Are we getting a lot of cheap poll ads reaction from the fan base?
No, I don't think any. But when they look at this pitching development, what is the number one criticism of Falvey since he got here? Pitching development.
Yeah.
2017. This guy came in 19. There's no great stream of young pitchers on the way at this moment. So
And the one you had, you inherited with Barrios.
I don't.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing: you're here if you're the pitching coach. You go to a meeting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they got 2 assistants, and he's got his own guy, Colby Suggs, who might end up. That's kind of I don't know what his title is, but he's a guy that Wes brought with him. And he could end up being a bullpen coach or something here. But Wes, he's leaving that situation of having to sit around and talk to everybody about it to go down there and be the pitching guy.
He'll be the guy.
So you'll ask the coach about the pitching, and he'll say, go talk to Wes. And all he's got to do is develop that pitching staff to play a 60-game season, turn it over every year, and he's the boss.
Wait a minute.
He's the boss.
Wait
you know
a
what
minute.
else?
Wait
And
a
he's
minute.
short, too.
The Southeast Conference plays 60-game season.
Yes.
Where do they have the time?
Well,
When do they start?
Well, they do a lot of double headers too,
yeah,
Joe. Keep
and
that in
you
mind.
might notice this, too, Joe, that the weather gets warm down there earlier.
I said, though. I said. But when do they start? In March?
Generally, oh, yeah. Yeah, they used to start in February, and I think now it's like late February.
It's like late February, early March.
But,
yeah.
they used to, but they play midweek games.
I'm aware that it gets warm.
It gets warmer earlier, Joe.
Yes. But the other thing about him is he's short, Joe. He's got the Napoleon complex,
Oh, yeah?
I think. You know, all those guys like that. They want to be the boss, right?
Yeah.
And the pitching coach there just had left to become the head coach at Washington, which has got a fairly good program, even though it's in the Pacific Northwest. And maybe Wes wants to be a head coach, too, in a couple of years from now or something. So, I don't know. Seemed like an affable fella. I talked to him. He loves
Was he
to
ever
talk.
a pitcher?
Yeah, I think he was, but never at a high level, you know. He's too damn short to be a pitcher.
Got another
at a high
question
level.
for you.
About 5'6". You know, he doesn't put his hand under his jacket when he walks to the mound, but he's got the Napoleon complex, I'd say.
Okay, I got a note from Kevin McDonald. It happened last week at the conclusion of the NBA Finals, and again last night when the Avalanche outlasted the overskated Lightning to capture the cup. What's the deal with the league commissioners not showing up at the trophy presentation? Are they afraid to get booed or get their feelings hurt? Last night they had the assistant NHL guy,
I think it is.
and they didn't have the extraterrestrial when
Adam Silver didn't do it.
didn't do it at the NBA. Why don't they show up?
I don't know why Adam wouldn't, because I mean he gets booed at the NBA, but it's all in good humor basically, because they started it with Stern, so they boo him, but Bettman gets crucified everywhere
Why?
he is. I don't know. He's done a hell of a job.
Yeah.
He's got teams in Las Vegas,
Right.
and Seattle, and Silver and Stern have teams in Memphis and Utah,
Right.
and he's got the markets that the NBA wants. People should like, Bettman, but
Does it go back to the strike? Maybe is that?
yeah, I think maybe the lockout, and the Canadians didn't like him. The
Right.
Canadians decided he didn't know enough about hockey.
I don't think the Tampa's wanted to. It had nothing to do with the lake. I think you could literally see them run out of gas in the third period.
That in Colorado's just
they've
that much
played
better.
4 seasons in 3 years.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, they did. They say
They
all
played
their,
4
all their
seasons in
playoff
3
games
years.
is amounts to a season.
Over
right?
70 games.
Yeah, wow. And high intensity.
Those are 70 intense games.
Yes, those are
that
not
ain't the
the,
game you skate through in February.
Those are not the 4-game road trip, and okay, we got 1 game left. We're 3-0. Hell with it. We can lose and go home. You know, we can.
You know what I didn't realize?
Lollygag. No lollygagging
No
in the
lollygagging.
playoffs. Yeah.
Sakic is the first guy to win 2 cups as a player and as a GM with the same organization.
No, second guy.
I thought it said first.
There was one other guy that's won the cup and the
Jacques.
cup. Oh, won the cup
Jacques was
and
not the GM as the coach, though. Jacques was the
I thought
coach.
there was one other guy. I'm sorry.
okay.
Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm wrong.
I'll look it up.
I'm glad it's
You're
over because I
talking
was
Jim.
hooked on these damn things and I was getting tired. Let's go, boys. You're going to be in camp in 2 months.
You're a bad waiter. You want the
Let's
season
get it over with.
I enjoyed the last 4 minutes as they were holding on to the lead. That's the racy, flip it on 5 minutes to go, 1-goal game. I'm in, baby.
Yeah.
I don't, unless they take a break, then I'll switch. But I can't wait. I'm not a patient enough guy waiting for a goal. I can't wait for a goal.
You're a bad waiter, too.
Yeah, I'm a bad waiter. I'm a bad waiter as far as watching stuff.
Now the Twins go play Cleveland again.
5 times in 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
4 days.
4 days, 5 times in 4 games. That'd be really hard. Yeah, 5. But how about Friday night, Joe? 2 hours and 18 minutes.
Yeah.
2 hours and 18 minutes.
It can happen.
And Saturday, under 3, 254, although it really had a chance. And then yesterday they were back to normal, right? That was going on. I took the hour-and-a-half drive around various bodies of water, Minnetonka and the like, just to listen to Gladden and Probus. I do that on Sundays sometime. And boy, oh boy, I was gone an hour and a half. It was about 2 innings.
Yeah.
2.5 innings. God, that game was going slow. Unreal. So, and anyhow, yeah, that's so they need a pitching coach. I'm voting for LaTroy.
I saw your tweet. That's not
Let's
a bad
get
idea.
LaTroy in there. Come on, he's been involved. I mean, he goes to spring training. He goes to all the pitchers' meetings. He's
was
the
gonna ask
one
you
of
about
those.
that. Yeah.
He's the one of those celebrity coaches who actually has, Torrey doesn't Cuddy. They show up for a week in spring training, but Hawkins goes to all the meetings, travels around, looks at the minor leaguers.
Well, you don't
Well,
pitch.
is he in that? The Twins hire him to do that?
He's a
Yes.
He's not
special
doing it for the
advisor.
hell of it.
No. He's Twins. He's on a. They have.
Special advisor. Is
I
that
think
the role?
Morneau's one too, right? I don't know. He goes to games and.
Well, you
talks.
don't pitch in the big leagues for 22 years if you don't know how to pitch.
Plus, when he walks out there to the mound to talk to you, it's not like having the boring Pete Mackey or this guy nobody even knew existed, Luis Ramirez, coming out. They gotta, he'd be a presence, right? And he, I don't know. That'd be what I'd beg him to be the interim and then see if he likes it or not.
Sure, Fitz cut out for it. You were mentioning LSU. You know what that always reminds me of when we talk LSU baseball. One of Tom Kelly's favorite players, Todd Walker.
Oh yes, he loved him.
Was he an LSU guy?
Yes. Bula Bula. Yeah. Or was that McCarty you said that about?
I don't remember.
But Todd was the second baseman who couldn't pick up the ball and throw it to first. And,
Yeah, he had a little problem with
Tom
that.
did not like the non-fielding second baseman.
No, that would be a drawback.
Yeah, he could hit. Boy, I
was a
thought
good
he was
hitter.
really going to be a hitter, but TK was. He went from his guys. He went from his guys who won 2 World Series for him, and they grew up signed out of high school and grew up in the Southern League, and spit tobacco and did inappropriate things, and then he's got the college guys, and he didn't go for that. David McCarty, I'll never forget. McCarty was hitting like 350. Remember, we were all campaigning to get him called up from Portland. He was killing the ball. And we'd mention, if the whole group wasn't around, you'd say, hey, McCarty, he'd say, Bula Bula. He'd say, he thought he had too big of a swing, too slow of a swing, and he was right.
And he was right.
He was right, but, he's hitting 900 in Portland and hitting home runs, and everybody, you got to get McCarty up here. And then he got here, and he couldn't hit the fastball.
Well, the trouble with him, because he was a first baseman, not only could he not catch up to a big league fastball, he also wasn't a very good fielder. So that's that's problematic when you're a first baseman.
Kind of had the Jose
baseball.
Miranda problem there.
Yeah.
Although Jose, I think, might be an okay hitter. He just can't play first base.
Did you watch any golf over the weekend?
Yeah, I did watch some of it.
What happened to Cantley yesterday?
Unbelievable.
Shot a 76.
Yeah, he couldn't make a putt from me to you.
Couldn't hit a green.
No, it was brutal. It was
Shoffley
brutal.
wins.
Shoffley wins. And,
Did you see where Matthew Wolff was
Matthew
joining
Wolff
LIV?
joined.
Yeah.
Young guy, first ever 3M Open champion. What is his? What's he doing?
I talked to a guy.
I think a lot of these guys think the LIV will blow up in 3 years and they'll come back and they'll have a lot of money in their pocket.
I
Right?
talked to a guy who can make the F1 races analogous to LIV and believes LIV's a good thing because golf's an international game, and why not expand it and have big league games and big league tournaments in Tokyo and wherever. And so he was not opposed to LIV.
Well, I'm opposed to LIV because there's no qualifying to get in. There's no missing the cut.
Right. It's
You got
54 holes.
You got 48 players playing 54 holes, and you can't miss the cut.
Right.
I want to read. This is only the 4th time Tigers missed the cut.
Right.
You got to. Golf should be played with pressure. There's
That's
no pressure on these guys.
I look
in
at
LIV.
that every Saturday online. I go to see
Yes,
who missed the cut.
Missed the cut, yes.
Yeah.
That golf.
You know who's done? Fowler might join LIV
he's going to. Well, he should.
Because he can't play.
Yeah, he should. He should go join LIV. Cause,
make some money.
Yeah, might as well. Plus, he's going to. He's just waiting for them to hit his number.
Well,
it was like
he didn't make the cut at this.
But
Travelers.
I mean, they give like a guy like Dustin probably got $200 million to go play there before he starts getting the prizes.
Right.
And Koepka too. I heard somebody was. Oh, Nick Faldo was saying.
They hit his number.
They hit his number. Yeah, I heard him say they hit his number.
What's
I'm going to miss Nick. I like Nick.
I do too.
What's the tax rate in Saudi Arabia, by the way? What are you paying?
I don't know.
I don't think you're paying a lot if you don't want to. You know, if you're part of the golf thing.
Well, if you don't live there, why would you pay there?
Yeah.
Well, don't you still, even though that's where you're making the money, don't you still have to pay a
I don't
tax
know how
thing?
that works. I don't know how that works. Except I don't like LIV. I don't like LIV.
No, and at this point, it'll be interesting. And now the next one, is it next week at Pumpkin Ridge?
I don't know.
This
I don't
week?
follow LIV.
They had media day today at 3M Open, and boy, those are the golf tournaments that are going to get killed by LIV.
Yeah.
Because there's 20 livers who would have been playing in the 3M
Matthew
Open.
Wolf, Dustin Johnson.
Yeah, well, Dustin
He was here last year and went home early.
wanted to.
Yeah.
According to LloydsBankTrade.com, there is no individual income tax rate in Saudi Arabia.
Because the oligarchs, or whatever we call them, the princes, would be taxing themselves because they got all the money.
Income tax is not imposed on an individual's earnings if they are derived only from employment in Saudi Arabia.
I also heard Faldo saying, wait till these guys get wind of what's going to be required of them for getting this large signing bonus. All these mandatory appearances they have to make.
Yes. With a prince in a robe somewhere.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah.
I'd hate it.
Have you dismembered anybody lately, Prince?
Right.
That'd be a tough
How do you think
icebreaker.
Paulina will do over there in Qatar, where they don't quite put women at the top of the pedestal?
Yeah, but how many of the tournaments are being played even in Arab countries? Most of them are.
They can't. They're not even on TV.
How many have they come up with tournaments?
I'm not a LIV guy. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not either. Plus, the fact that they're. It is amazing. People, there's no difference between Wes Johnson and Matthew Wolf.
Oh, funny.
Brooks Koepka. They're taking the money.
Is it so? That's interesting because we have 750 different sports networks, right? How is not one of them? Is it because they don't want to upset?
Is it all streaming or what?
I don't know.
It's all online.
Well, I think the Saudis are very nervous about who they would sell ads to,
Oh, sure.
Don't you think?
I don't know.
Somebody.
I don't think they'd be celebrating Pride a lot in Saudi Arabia, like we had over the weekend.
Mm-hmm. Well, we won't have to worry about that pretty soon if we get Clarence to. Clarence is very worried about. Relations between two fellas. How about the fact Clarence doesn't want contraception?
I don't get how he's gone to that point.
I don't know. I didn't realize. Somebody said, what's his feeling on Loving and versus Virginia, which is the right for a black man to marry a white woman? Because he went almost to there, but since he's married to this crazy white woman, he's probably not going to go that way. But God, oh boy, they are. It's unbelievable. But the good thing about it is it gives my side a chance. The bloodbath that was going to occur.
We did discuss that earlier today.
We talked about that today.
I think it's
all your side has going for it.
I was going to say that the GOP was going to have a bloodbath. I think they're still going to have a very good off-year election, but it's not going to be quite the massacre that it was going to be.
Well, your side doesn't have a lot to offer.
Well, yeah, and you got Scott Jensen.
Scott, he's not running for president.
Yeah, Scott just kind of.
Now, what's your beef with him? What's your beef with him?
Did you see his statement?
On what?
On Roe versus Wade.
I did not.
He didn't have the guts to come out and say, I think this is a great thing. He did all this other crap. And then he basically accused Walz of wanting to murder toddlers. Basically, if that kid, we might shoot him out of their wagons when they're coming.
I don't think he said that. I don't really think he went that far.
The 9-month abortion. He wants serial 9-month abortion, and so God, he would not stick to the point in his statement.
Joe, I'll cross off what you asked me to do earlier to try to get Scott on the show.
We were going to have him on.
Oh, go ahead and get him on. Just
I
don't
want
get
Pat
him on
here when
Monday
he's
Night
on.
Sports Talk.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Well, the only thing I can see that you have a beef with him is he didn't get vaccinated.
Who?
Scott.
Didn't get
He's
vaccinated.
not a vaccine guy.
No, I got a beef with him because he's a Roe versus Wade thrower out fan. That's one thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of other stuff. Read his whole statement. It's all like babbling. He won't. He does. He is afraid to directly comment on. You know what he wants? He wants counseling. Mm-hmm. We're going to have better counseling of young women.
You mean counseling?
Counseling.
Yeah.
Counseling.
Well, you gave it a full spin there, and I didn't know what the hell the word counseling meant.
Young women who are in the back seat with some guy.
Right.
They're going to think of their counseling and say, no, we aren't going to do this.
Yeah.
And then we won't have any child pregnancies, and we'll be great. Anyway.
Monday Night Sports.
Yes, it is.
Yes,
Monday
sir.
Night Sports Talk. Yes, it is. But anyhow, it was a raucous couple, 3 days, that's for sure. But I will say the Stick to Sports crowd on my Twitter account.
You were stirring them up over the weekend, sir.
I have taken, I'm all in. And I blocked at least 75 Stick to Sportsers, so that's...
Were you having a block party over the weekend?
On Stick to Sports.
I didn't get on the Twitter over the weekend.
Oh, really? That's a good idea, probably.
It's probably a good idea.
Was Pat on fire?
Oh, yeah.
Barry Miller.
Yes, he
Barry
was.
Miller. Thanks for defending us white people. We haven't had any advantages in this entire country since we stole it from the Indians.
I'm sitting here thinking of my mother was a very nice person, but I do resent her wokeness that violated the freedoms on which America is built by making me take a smallpox vaccination without studying long-term consequences. Now here I am, 76 and bald as hell.
Yes. That's an old one, though. That one was a couple of years ago.
Well, it just came up.
I'm glad, by the way, I was going to ask you on Friday, Pat, and I'm glad you mentioned in your column when you said, Mr. Driscoll was a bar goer in Le Sueur, and I was going to ask you, well, which one?
Yeah.
Was it the bar?
The Green Mill or the bar,
Green
right
Mill?
next to each other.
Right.
And the Green Mill was the Sundowner or the Sundown Saloon or something.
That's
Not
what it was called
the Green
back in
Mill,
the day.
The bar was for years.
Okay.
But I do love the fact that his nephew and his wife's, the Millums, Marty and Sue, they own the bar now.
Okay.
And they have kept the 24 square game, the pull tab game,
Sure.
where Joe had 23 squares and the other person won the
And he
500.
still lost.
Won the $599.
What was the initial investment for the
I don't know, it had
$599?
to be thousands because he bought 23 squares, but there's also prize money behind each one of these squares.
Oh, sure. Okay.
So he must have done some mathematical thing that if he won everything that he would.
Why didn't he buy all the squares?
Because some woman, Tiff Thompson, some gal in there said, Joe, I want to buy one on that box and of squares. And he said, oh, okay.
All right,
ahead.
fine, go ahead.
She had to slip 100, didn't she? Or
You'd
something?
think so.
Yeah, right.
So I was thinking when you mentioned that on Friday that he did the Kirby Puckett philosophy of NCAA tournament pool. Or
Puck would have $5,000 invested to win the $3,000 first prize. If you had one of the Puck ran at $50 a head, 64 teams. So whatever. How much is that?
that's probably,
Whatever that was, and then they paid first, second, and third. But if you had one of the good teams, Puck would give you like $300 for it, and then he'd buy all the good teams, but he couldn't make money.
he just wanted to say he won.
He just wanted to say he won. Wanted to say he won. Yes, he was.
Because the bar in Le Sueur, that was the frequent stop of the Chanhassen Redbirds after a Le Sueur League game. We would frequent that place.
Here's what I had this thought today, though. Let's say this is 1987 or 91, and the fellas find out on the plane that your pitching coach is leaving in midseason. I'm sure all these guys sat around reverently and didn't say anything.
Yeah.
they would have held his feet out the window.
Yeah.
That crew would have threw everything they had.
Poor Suchi's out dangling out the
beard. Yeah, they would have, they would have needled the living hell out of him. And what do you think happens when Wes goes to the mound tonight to talk to Sonny Gray?
Bleep you.
Yeah, that's what Sonny Gray might.
Well, did the players like this guy?
Yeah, I think he was okay.
Yeah.
I think they don't dislike. He's a chatty fella. And,
Yeah.
really outgoing and he's got the BS. He was okay. He just the results weren't fantastic, but he was a decent enough guy. The fact that it comes out of nowhere was amazing.
Yeah.
Ryan struggled yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah, you know what? What I said in April is young pitchers who just come out there and throw strikes and are fearless, that always works until it doesn't, until somebody knocks them around. And then they get less aggressive. And he's behind in the count a lot more now than he was. Because when he first started out, his starts he made last year and his first few this year, just whoosh, and throw it in there and never walk anybody. And now they've adjusted to him, and there was something about that 93 mile-an-hour fastball they couldn't hit. But he's okay, but he's not the Nolan Jr. like the Twins fans thought for a while.
Pat, I know Joe is still kind of sad because the days have become shorter.
Yes, they are. Mm-hmm.
Joe, do you know what happens 27 days from today?
No.
Vikings training camp.
The optional one or the real one?
The real one. We already had the organized team activities.
You know what? The thing about it is you can ignore it now that it's out there in Egan. It's no fun anymore.
Right. Go back to Mankato.
You go down there, there's an atmosphere.
Yeah.
There's no atmosphere out here. They got the Vikings. You got some. They're selling hot dogs at some stand.
I want the days of Keith Millard running into the Hardee's drive-through.
Damn betcha. Sneaking companionship.
Staying in those unair-conditioned dorm rooms.
All those Mankato State lady students who disappear a few months after the Vikings
some of that.
There was some of that. And come back the next year.
Yeah, there was a little bit of that.
Yeah, that's right. So, or the head coach, everybody having to be back in the dorm at 11 and the head coach coming in Mettler's at 11:05. That's stuff. That you never have any of that out there.
I do know a young lady who
have you been out there?
Nope.
You should see it.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It is unreal. But, Pat, I do know a young lady who had a summer bartending job and waitressing job who then asked someone, who's so-and-so as a player from the Vikings? Because I got his number. I didn't whatever. That was a couple of years ago.
Okay,
so that was pretty good. I said, well, he plays for the team.
I was
young person.
I was thinking of Augie the other day when they kicked away that game that they had one of the yoo-hoo-hoos. It would have been a yoo-hoo-hoo game. Augie, I was getting sad about Augie not calling up to go yoo-hoo-hoo after they kicked one away. But nothing will ever top. Augie went on a road trip with us, just to go on a road trip in Oakland, and I don't know if we might have been.
Did he write?
Might have no. He was just on the trip, just partying and going out. But he ran into a young lady that one night, like at 2 a.m, they're drinking at a bar, and she said, what do you do in town with the Twins? I said, I'm here with the Twins. And she said, oh, are you a player? And he said, he thought a minute. He said, yeah, I am. She was a Hispanic gal. And and Augie says, yes, Bill Butler. He says, I'm Bill Butler, who was a left-handed, big, tall, good-looking left-handed pitcher, but she would have known. And so anyway, this young lady would do a pretty good accent of her pleasure with Bill Butler. And anyway, I was thinking thinking of Bill Butler, because there's nobody in America Augie looked less like than Bill Butler, who's like a 6'4" handsome left-hander, but Bill Butler.
Well, how'd it work out for him?
Oh, it worked out good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. We stayed in that hotel out that Hyatt that was on one level, and it was sprawled out all over the place.
Okay.
And that's supposedly also where, another tasteless remark, that's where Harry was at the pool, the famous Harry at the pool, and there was this really good-looking young gal there, was very buxom and wearing a bikini, and this guy, Harry commented on how attractive she was. And it was his stepdaughter.
Oh, God.
So that was another one. Now, back when baseball was openly tasteless.
Right.
Now we can't get away with that anymore.
Back when baseball was openly tasteless.
Yes, right.
Well, it was almost schooled in tastelessness.
Oh God, yes. Yeah, it was nothing appropriate. That's what I'm saying. If Wes they would have locked him in the men's room yesterday if that would have happened. So social media's changed that, though. You can't, you can be out
Right.
really acting inappropriately and somebody will get it on the cell phone and
Right.
then you're in trouble. So
The 3M is this weekend?
No, it was the 3M Media Day when they try to get a little pub for the tournament coming up, and I don't know if they used to, when it was a senior event, they used to get the defending champion. That's when
when you broke the guy's
3M
ankle.
Championship Media when I hit the poor Wayne Levy right in the knob on the ankle.
Yeah. You haven't been the same since.
My game went really to hell.
Yeah.
My game went from horse bleep to something worse. So retirement. How are you hitting it?
Not very well.
Really?
No.
August slump, and it's only
Well, my
June.
August slump comes earlier every year.
Yeah, right. You used to have the August slump.
I used to have it in August.
Yeah.
Now it's in June.
May.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
That's right.
Well, but speaking of golf,
Well,
if you were going to play,
my game isn't good enough for Giants Ridge.
really?
Well, the Quarry and the Legend are two of the greatest courses in the state of Minnesota. They're two of the greatest courses in the country.
Perfect health. Perfect health.
Just thinking about it makes me sneeze.
Yes, right. A lot of foliage up there.
Right now, between now and August 29th, what a great deal. Played the Quarry and the Legend on the same day for one fee with lunch on them at the Wakuta Grill. That's one of the finest and most peaceful overlooks in all of northern Minnesota. See this for yourself on the 3D course flyovers of the Legend and the Quarry at giantsridge.com. And as I've been saying, it's a tank of gas to get there. You might want to consider this the family vacation destination. There's nearby water recreation and biking and hiking and the newest and largest lift-serve mountain bike park in the Midwest, dining, lodging, and more. What a retreat. And it's quiet, it's beautiful, and it's nature as God intended it to be. You got the 25th anniversary of the Legend coming up. You know when that is? Tomorrow.
Really?
June 28th. The Legend sparked golfing in northeastern Minnesota, and soon after came the Quarry in the Wilderness. You can make your tee time at Giants Ridge by calling them at 218-865-8030 or go to giantsridge.com.
Fantastic. Is that going to put a wrap on her today?
I'm thinking we were up there for the debut 21 years ago,
I think we
Joe.
were.
I think
Oh,
that,
you were.
we were. Yeah.
Yeah.
Johnny Manisich was
Yes.
playing golf with him. What a wonderful human being.
So who did more damage to an ankle, Reusse or you, to Moeller?
Well, I broke molars.
Is that when he was pointing at the houses and saying which
No,
one he
his
wanted?
attorney friend drove him around a 17-mile drive and said, "What house do you want?"
Yes. The story came up the other day when I was asking the security guard.
Yeah, you live around here.
The ethnic security guard on 17 Million Drive. You live around here on that $7 an hour you're making here, buddy?
Poor guy took a train from Tijuana to get there.
You live around here? My wife said, "Sometimes you're so stupid." I said, "Yeah."
Yeah, well, what are you going to do?
What are you
I'm
going to
not
do?
arguing with you. I'm not arguing with you. To hell with it. All right. See you next week. No, wait.
4th of
Next
July
week.
next
We're
week.
done.
July.
We're
Take
not
the-
on next week.
Okay.
You're not on either.
You should take a week off. Okay. All right.
Good enough.
You've heard me discuss my relationship with Josh Arnold for some time. The reason I advocate that you give Josh a call is simple. Trust and results. Josh has seen it all when it comes to economic and market conditions. As has been said, through all of our relationship, past results do not guarantee future returns. And while that is true, Josh can make sure that your retirement objectives match your investments. You can understand that Josh will make sure you are not paying more in fees than you are seeing in returns. Yes, that is more common than you would like to think. Do yourself a favor and have a booking with Josh for the 48-minute free evaluation. This is a no-obligation meeting. Call Josh at 952-925-5608. You will be glad that you did.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice.
Patrick Reusse is a paid endorser.